Hi guys, it's Alicia here. So today I'm doing a video that I have been meaning to do for quite a while now. I'm a couple months late to the game, but as you guys probably already know, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I do have the Morphe 35G Bronze Goals palette. I have mentioned this a few times. I've been wanting to do a tutorial with it on my channel for a long time now, and I'm finally getting around to do that. And the only reason why it's been taking me so long is because I've just had so many videos I've been wanting to do, and like so many different ideas, and you know, so much new makeup coming in all the time. So it just kept getting pushed back, but I'm making it a priority today, even though I have other videos that I want to do, like probably even more than this one. I'm like making it a priority to get this done. I do plan on doing a couple tutorials with a couple of my other palettes that I have and do some colorful looks. So if you are wanting to see that, stay tuned. Real quick, I already have done all of my face makeup. The only thing I have not done obviously is my eyes. If you want to know what I am wearing on my face, I have, I didn't put my primer in here, but I'm wearing that Wet n Wild water drop primer, I think is what it's called, the coconut scented one. I've been really loving that. I'm almost out. I've been loving it so much. And then I use the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer in my T-zone. But for foundation, I actually mixed my CYO Life Proof in the shade 101 and then CoverGirl CG Smoothers in the shade 720. I mixed these two together. This one's a pretty good shade match for me as it is, so I didn't really mix it for the shade. I mostly just mixed it because this is my favorite foundation, and I've mixed this with a couple other foundations. Sorry. So I just wanted to see if maybe it would make this one better, because I do like this one. I don't know if I like it enough to repurchase it or not, but I thought I would mix it, and I like how it looks. And I also added a drop of my Milani Camellia face oil. I've been loving doing that with my foundation lately. I used my e.l.f. 16-hour camo concealer. I'm not too sure what to think of this. I don't think it's a bad concealer, but the shade I got is just very light on me. It doesn't look like it would be in the tube, but on my skin it makes my under eyes look white. And this is the shade Light Peach. I don't know if it's the lightest one or not, but to darken it up just a tad bit, I use my Collab No Flaws liquid concealer. This is in the shade Porcelain. This is probably my favorite concealer right now. So I like them both mixed, I think, but I'm not totally sure like if I would repurchase this, because I like this on its own. I just mixed it to make other concealers look better. So I don't know. But I'm wearing, for my cream contour, I've been like really loving cream contouring and bronzing lately. I've been using my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour palette. This is newer to me, but I used pretty much these two shades right here, and then a little bit of this one to highlight, and that was it. And I really like how it looks. So, and then I also use my Cover FX palette. I did dip into the contour shade to bronze up a little bit, along with the Kat Von D. I used the blush, I used this finishing powder. I've actually been really enjoying this finishing powder, and I wasn't sure if I would like it that much, and I really do. And then I also used this highlighter right here that's a little bit more golden. This one's a little bit more pinky. Usually when I use this palette, 9 times out of 10, I'll just dip into both, but I did just use this gold one today, based on the look I'm wearing on my eyes. But I also dipped in a tad bit to my ColourPop Smoke and Whistles highlighter. Well, this isn't really too pinky. It looks like it is, but it's not that bad. But it's just a very, well, you can't even see that swatch. Very, very intense highlights. I literally just like topped this on my other highlight because my Cover FX one was showing up enough. But for my brows, I kept it simple and used my Essence Make Me Brow Gel. I didn't want anything complicated. I already primed my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot. And I did go ahead and set that base out of my Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. I used the shade up here, Parched, to set my base. And that's, oh wait, and for lips, I'm also wearing a lip gloss. I'm wearing my Revlon Super Lustrous Lip Gloss in the shade Rosy Future. This is supposed to be a dupe for the original Fenty Gloss Bomb. So yeah, that is what I am wearing today. So now we can get into what this video is really about, this palette. So, if you've seen any of my other videos, I've mentioned this palette a few times. I've kind of given my thoughts on it. I still don't think I would recommend this palette. And like I said, I know I'm late on this video, so I mean, if you already have it, I'm mainly doing this video for if you already have it, trying to like inspire you to use it and, you know, maybe get some nice looks out of it, even if you're a little bit disappointed in it like I was. But I do nonetheless use it. I actually lately have been using it a lot, and I haven't really reached for this that much. When I first bought it, I reached for it a couple times, and then I was kind of like, I don't care. I'm gonna reach for my other palettes that I love so much more. And don't get me wrong, this is not my favorite palette I have by all means. Like, no, it is not. But I have liked a couple of the looks I've made with this. I've only made like 5 looks, I want to say, with this palette. Like 5 different looks. I've worn some of those like repeated a few times, but you can make so many more, I think, with all these shades. But this is the palette right here. The reason why I'm kind of hating on it a little bit, well, I'm not hating on it, but like that I'm not fully recommending it, is because the shades are pretty, but some of them look prettier in the pan and in the like promo photos online. If you saw like when they launched, like this shade for instance, in the promo photos looked purple, and in the palette it looks like a purpley brown, but when you swatch it, I don't know if you can really tell, but it's just a dark brown. And so I was a little bit disappointed by that because I thought it was a really pretty purple like color, and you know, it's not. So I was a little bit disappointed in that. The shades that I am really liking though are these two right here, these like green golds. And then I've been using this top row like a lot. I really do enjoy this top row. I've been using this shade and this shade a lot and doing like a halo eye with it. I do like this pink shade. So I mean, there are some pretty shades in here, but I definitely wouldn't say this is a palette I feel you should go run out and buy if you don't already have it. Honestly, I still kind of regret purchasing it when it first launched. I think I should have waited until I saw reviews, and then I probably wouldn't have purchased it. But since I do have it and I didn't want to return it, I want to try to make it work. So that is why I've been using it, making this video. But like I said, before when I was trying to use it, I was kind of forcing myself to because I bought it and I wanted to use it and not waste my money. But here lately, I've actually just been wanting to use it. So, I mean, I have been getting some use out of it, which is good. But yeah, I thought I would just go ahead and do a look today. I'm kind of feeling these like green and gold shades right here, so I might do that. If you want to see more looks with this palette, I can totally do that. Like I said, I really haven't been enjoying this top row right here too. So I could totally do something like that in another video if you wanted. You know, I could do whatever. Another complaint I have is the packaging. Like, I hate these. Why does Morphe do this? Why don't they just put the names by the pans? I mean, there's plenty of space too. Like, I don't understand. Or even on the back. Like, you have all that room. I don't like these. I really only have this for this purpose for a video. And my other Morphe palette, I threw it away because, like, I just don't care. I don't really care too much about the names either, so, like, it doesn't really bother me to not have names on a palette. But, like, if you're going to, don't put it on a freaking paper like this. And also, I kind of wish there was a mirror, because I am going to be using a mirror from another palette to, like, do my eyeshadow. So that kind of sucks. But other than that, I like the, like, cardboard packaging. I like it better than their typical palette packaging, so that's kind of nice. And I do like the colors of the packaging too, so I mean, there's definitely some pros and cons. But yeah, I am going to, I think, first go into this shade right here, which is the shade Sandy, and I'm going to put that in my crease. Like I said, I have already primed and set my primer with a shade in this palette. I'm just using this palette as the mirror. I love the mirror in this palette because it's so freaking big. Like, it's perfect. I've been using the mirrors in my other palettes a lot until I got this palette, and I've been using the mirror in this a lot more. This is a newer palette for me as well. I've been wanting to try out Jeffree's formula for like the longest time. And I finally just bit the bullet and bought this palette. I kind of want to try his blood sugar palette as well, but for the time being, I knew I would get a lot of use out of these shades because they're more my speed, and I still got a couple colorful shades in there, as well as the beautiful foiled metallics. Like, are you kidding me? Not that this video is about Jeffree's palette, so I will shut up about his palette. If you want to see another video, I'm totally willing to do that. So, yeah. Back to the Morphe palette, though. The mattes in this shade, I do have to say, blend out seamlessly. Like, the mattes are amazing. I really like their mattes. I've never had an issue with their mattes before in my other palette that I have. So, like, that doesn't really surprise me any. I kind of had high expectations for their mattes. But what I don't understand is the shimmers and their other palette I have does not, like, require you to scrape off the top layer. Like the shimmers in this palette. That is the only way I could get them to work. I was very disappointed when I opened my package. And I immediately started swatching the shades, and there was, like, no pigment. Like, it would not come off onto my finger, and I was like, what is going on? Another complaint I have is this shade right here, which, what shade is this? The shade Burnt is a matte glitter. I don't think you can tell on my camera. But why, like, I just don't understand the point of matte glitters. Like, the glitter usually, like, has fallout, and why do you want glitter if you're using a matte, like, on your outer corner anyways? Like, I just don't understand. If I wanted, like, some kind of, like, shine, I would use, like, a shimmer. I don't know. I just don't really see the point in matte glitters. It's not my thing. So I kind of wish that wasn't there, but, you know, it's whatever. Okay, so I already blended out that shade. It blended out really well. Now I think I'm going to take the shade SPF, I think, which is this one right here. It's just a tad bit darker than the one I put in my crease, and I'm going to use the same brush and just go a little bit lower in the crease. Hopefully give it some more dimension. I'm hoping I like my eyeshadow today because I really like the rest of my makeup. I think everything is looking really nice. Something I also want to mention that I think I have mentioned before in other videos is I'm kind of iffy when it comes to Morphe's palettes. Like, I don't really think I'm going to be getting a lot of their palettes now unless they, like, change them. I don't like how the bigger palettes are very repetitive and have, like, multiple shades that are basically the same and have, like, just a slight difference to where you can barely even see a difference. Because then when you put them on the eyes, they look the exact same, and if you do too much of that, it can look muddy. I get that, you know, they're big palettes, so they're wanting to, like, maybe make more variety, because it's hard to, like, you know, I don't know, because you have 35 shadows, and maybe you're trying to figure out what all to do, and, like, I get that, but just, I don't know, have a small, like, I would much rather have a smaller palette than have, like, you know, 5 different shades that look the same, because then, like, am I really going to get use out of all of them? Probably not. But, again, that is just me. Now I'm taking the shade Heat Wave, which is this shade right here. It's a darker brown. It has, like, a little bit of a red tint to it, I believe. I'm going to use my dual-ended Anastasia brush and put that on the inner and outer corners. I'm doing a halo eye today. I'm just going to go ahead and start applying this. So like I said, my only issue with this palette, like main issue really, is just the shimmers. If the shimmers were better quality, I think I could get over like the, you know, small issues I have with this palette, like the matte glitter and the packaging and all that, because like that doesn't really bother me too much. It's just like a small complaint, like I think they should have done this differently type of thing, you know what I mean? But the shimmers, man. I thought this really would redeem Morphe for me too, because after their, I think it's the 3502 like Second Nature palette is the one I have. Now that was just a consumer problem for me, like purchasing that when I should have realized that, oh hey, a lot of those shades look the same. And now like I know that, and I wouldn't buy a palette that looks like that, but at the time being, I was just thinking, oh wow, all these neutral colors, I will get use out of every single shade. That is amazing. I wasn't really thinking. But, I'm using that same brush actually and take that on the other side and just kind of blend that through the crease a little bit. But I thought this palette was going to kind of redeem that for me, because after that one palette, I was kind of like, man, I don't know if I'm going to repurchase, you know, any of these bigger Morphe palettes. I did really want to get the Jaclyn Hill original palette, and like a part of me still wants that, but I don't think I'm going to like purchase it, because I just don't think I need it, although a lot of the colors are very pretty. I just kind of think though, because it was between that and then the Second Nature one that I did get, I think that I should have just got the Jaclyn Hill palette. I don't know why I didn't. But it was a little bit more expensive, and I think that's why I didn't get it. But in all reality, it really wasn't that much more expensive, and at least then I would have got useful shades. So I do kind of regret that, but it's okay. And see, and I love how these shades blend out. I'm going to take that first shade that I used in my crease and just kind of make sure everything is blended. Like, I have no complaints whatsoever about these matte shades. But you don't want to get this palette just for the quality of the mattes though either, because there isn't really that many mattes. There's 11 mattes, including the matte glitter. So without the matte glitter, there's only 10 mattes, which is not a whole lot for being 35 shades. Obviously, it's mostly shimmer. You already know that. So if you're not, like, you know, wanting the shimmers, but you mostly want the mattes, I definitely want to get this, which you probably already wouldn't. Now, I think I'm going to just deepen up the inner and outer corner just a tad bit towards the lower lash, or towards the lash line. And I'm going to use the shade Equator, which is this really dark chocolate brown. It's just a tad bit more intense than the one I was using. So I'm just going to take a different brush, just a tad bit of that, and just add a little bit. This shade is a little bit powdery. A lot of these shades, like the mattes at least, aren't really that powdery. This shade is a little bit, but it's not, you know, too bad. But that doesn't bother me at all. Out of everything else in this palette, that is like the least of my worries. I don't really care about powdery shades anyways. Like, to me, as long as it, you know, blends well, looks nice, I don't really care if it's powdery. Like, that does not bother me at all. But yeah, everything is looking really, really, really nice. So I think it's go ahead and time to go into some shimmer. So I'm going to be using the shade So Golden, which is this green gold. It does look more gold than on the eyes than it does in the pan. Fair warning, but I do still love this shade. I think it's really, really pretty. Now, I still dig my finger in it quite a bit to get some color payoff, even after scraping the top layer, just so you know. And I'm just going to put that in the middle. And I don't really feel like for digging my finger in there as much as I did. I don't think I get a whole lot of color payoff. That's just in my personal opinion. So I'm going to dip back in. The best way to use these shadows is truly your finger. Dry brush, you won't get anything off of it at all. And a wet brush, you will, but like very, very, very little. You're just better off going in with your finger. I've tried all three, which I don't mind. I typically apply shimmers with my finger unless I'm trying to be more precise with it, but that's still something to like note. If you like to typically use a brush with your shimmers, you probably won't like the quality of this palette. Like, I still think it's a really pretty shade, but you do have to build it up to get the intensity that I like. Which is not like too bad. I'm okay with building up shades, but when you have such a stiff formula, it's just a little bit annoying. So, okay, there's that shade on. So I'm cleaning my finger off, and I'm going to top that with the shade next to it, which is called Soul. That is this light gold right there. I'm just going to tap a little tiny bit of that in the center of the other shade. I feel like this one isn't as stiff as the other color. I don't know why that is, but and yeah, I just dab a tiny bit of that. Honestly though, with these two together, you can barely see much of a difference, which kind of sucks. But I don't know. I mean, it's still pretty, but now I'm just going to make sure that that is blended out. The edges. That's something you have to really make sure you're doing when you're doing a halo eye. I'm newer to halo eyes, so. But that's pretty much the gist of it. I am going to attempt to take that really light gold shade that we just used on a brush. I'm really packing it on this brush. Like, there's a lot of color on this brush right now. And I'm going to spray it with some setting spray and try to put that in my inner corner for like an inner corner highlight. And it's working. It is showing up quite a bit, which is nice. But it does show up better with a finger. Like if you're trying to do really intense shadow on your lid, I would use your finger. But right now, what I'm wanting, this is working. And I'm just gonna make sure that that isn't interfering with that brown. Actually, and that's about it. So I usually do this when I'm done with my eye look. I just make sure everything's blended through the crease again. I am going to cheat and take this parched shade in the Jeffree Star palette just to highlight my brow bone. Since there is no shade like that in the Morphe palette, that's another downside. Because I like cream color shades like this to highlight and set my base with. So for me, that's a downside, but that might not be a downside for you. Now I am just going to do my eyeliner, mascara, and finish up this video. I'm using my Flower Beauty vinyl liner on my waterline, and I'm going to be using my Collab Ink Addict liner on my top. Oh, dang it. That's okay. That's not too bad. I've been getting better at doing eyeliner with one hand, because before I like could not do this at all. I would need both hands, but I'm getting better at it, which is awesome. Okay. And by the way, if you hear crying in the background, just know that everything is okay, and she is not alone. So, just saying. I just have my baby monitor in here, so it's like extra loud. But now I'm using my Collab Curl and Sculpt mascara to finish off the job. Something I want to note is, I know that I typically do my face makeup after my eye makeup. That's what I've been doing on my channel a lot. But obviously I did my face makeup first today. It's because this palette doesn't really have much fallout. The mattes don't have any fallout, even the darker shades I used. A couple of the darker shades today and no fallout. The shimmer shades, like I said, because of the formula and how stiff they are and everything, there's like no fallout. So that's a plus, I guess, with the formula, but I still wouldn't say, you know, this palette is awesome or anything like that. But I really want to utilize what I got and get use out of as much of my makeup as I can. But like I said, I have been reaching for this palette a little bit more lately. So, like, I have been enjoying some of the looks I've made with it. But, yeah, I still don't think it's, like, a must-have palette. Especially if you looked at the promo photos online and then maybe saw the actual palette in person. The shades look totally different. Well, some of them. So that is also a huge letdown. But yeah, that was the whole look. I'm just gonna finish spraying my face with my Milani Make It Last setting spray. And that is the eye look that we are going with today. It's definitely not my favorite eye look I've come up with, but I do like it. It is one of my favorites I came up with this palette. It is different than what I normally do, so I do like it for that reason. Basically, my final thoughts on this palette is I still stand by what I said in the beginning. I don't recommend this, but if you have it, as long as you scrape off the top layer of the shimmers, you're pretty much good to go, and hopefully you'll get some use out of it. Hopefully this video will, like, inspire you to use it if you have it. But yeah, that was all for this video, and I hope that you enjoyed watching, and I hope I'll see you in my next video. Bye!